Okay, so let's set up our HUD for the player. So we're going to make a new folder in content. We're going to call it UI. Okay. First things first, we have to enable common UI. Okay. So we go to edit plugins and we search for common UI. Common UI plugin right here. Yes, experimental. We're good. And then we restart. So we shut it down. Okay. Now that it's back up, we go to our new folder. So we create a new class called common activatable widget. And at the bottom, common activatable widget. You can read what it says, but I'll explain later. And we call it widget. So W overall UI layout. So all our UI is gonna go into this widget. This widget is gonna have a couple stacks that are gonna handle literally everything that shows up on your screen. Okay. So first things first, we add an overlay. And then over here, we add stack. Common activatable widget stack. Right. And then we're gonna name this stack underscore game settings. We're gonna have a couple stacks and make sure you set it as a variable. Then you can just duplicate it and rename it to stack game layer. Then duplicate again, rename game mode. So like if you have a roguelike game mode, all your score and everything is gonna show up on this stack, right? And then the last one, stack game menu. So all your menu stuff is gonna show up here. And it is very important the order. So this is gonna be at the bottom. So this stack is under this stack, under this stack, under this stack. So if you want your menu stack to be at the bottom, you move it up, right? But all my menu stuff should always be on top. So if your pause menu pops up, it should be on top of everything, right? That's why you put it in this order. Okay. And then we go to the graph. Oh, first of all, we select all these and we expand them to fit the whole screen. And that's pretty much it. Okay. And here, there's a couple of things. So just transition type. So the way widgets transition between this in this layer, right? So they can fade in, they can come in from the right, they can come in from the top, they can zoom in and out. So like they expand from little to big, and then when they go away, they go from big to little, like disappear. So you can change this as you please. And then the transition curve. So and then you can set the transition curve, the transition duration. And yeah, that's pretty much all the stuff that you can set. Okay. Now we go here and we don't use any of these. We're actually going to create a couple functions. So we're going to create a function that's called register layer. And this one is going to take in. So we go down here on the left, gameplay tag. And then we're going to call it layer tag. Each layer is going to have its own tag so it can differentiate. So we can send it into its layer. So when we create a widget, we can send it to a certain layer by telling it which tag to use to put it into, right? So we're gonna actually create a variable called layers, which is gonna be a map. Okay, going to be a map of gameplay tags. So a gameplay tag and set a map. So the key is going to be a gameplay tag. And the actual variable is going to be a common activatable widget container object reference. Okay. And then our register layer is obviously going to take in a common activatable widget container base. And this is going to be called layer stack. And then here we're just going to grab our map. We're going to do add. Then we plug these in. So when we register a layer, we are going to add it to our map. And we're going to do it right now. So we go to the event graph and then on initialized. So when this widget gets initialized, we're going to register layer. So we grab our register layer, we put it in here. And first things first, we register our game layer. And the tag is going to be, so we click on this UI, and then we're going to add a subtag to the UI. It's going to be called layer underscore and the name of the layer. So that's the game layer. So we make sure you select the source and you add a new tag. We're just going to select that. For that, we do this for every single one of these. So it's not a game anymore. Now it's the menu layer. And we add a subtag and then we select it. And again, game mode. We add a new tag, game mode. And lastly, we add the last one, which is the settings layer, right? And you plug in your settings. Okay. So that's pretty much it. And then we're going to have to make a couple more functions. So how do we push widgets into these layers, right? So we're going to make a new function called, right, push widget to layer stack. And then this is going to take in a gameplay tag. So we know which layer is going to go into. Gameplay tag. And we're going to call it layer tag. And it's going to take in common activatable widget, but we're going to take a class reference. Okay. Activatable widget class. Okay. Then we're going to get our map. We're going to find this layer tag. And if we found it, we're going to put it in there. Okay. If we didn't find it, we're not going to do anything, right? And from here, we found it, so we push the widget into the stack. We push this widget into the stack. And if you want, you can return a reference to the creator widget. You just do that. If you need the reference somewhere, you can just return it. We don't really, but we have it, might as well return it. Okay. And then one more. We want to remove it. So remove widget from layer stack. Again, we're going to take in the gameplay tag. Layer tag. And we're going to take in an object reference to the widget. Common activatable, widget, and object reference. And then call it widget to remove. Compile save. So now again, we get our layer map, we find it, so find the layer, and if we found it, we remove it. Just get the reference and remove. There you go. And we don't have to return anything. Like, it either finds it or it doesn't. So, okay, and that's it for this widget. After that, we're actually gonna make the actual HUD. Okay, so player. Then we're gonna create a new folder, call it HUD, and this one is actually another common activatable activatable widget. Common activatable widget. Selected. Widget HUD player and PC. Okay, so in case you need another HUD for console or Switch, whatever, just differentiate them by that. Okay, now we open it up. And we're gonna add a safe zone, then an overlay. Then a canvas. And we're gonna stretch the canvas. And that's it for this one. So this is like our canvas. So here we're gonna start adding different widgets and populate it. So I'm gonna put by hell here. If you want to put your quest tracker, you can put it here, etc. Okay, so now we're just gonna add the health bars. So we're just gonna type in HUD. And these HUDs they come with Gas Companion. If you want to make your own, you can. You can just look at the documentation. And we're gonna select minimalist. And we're gonna anchor it to our bottom left. We're gonna put size to content. And then we're gonna offset it in the Y by 1. Okay. And that's it. Everything, all your attributes are set up already in C++ by them. And then we have to add this to our player, right? So let's do that. So we can close these out and find our player, our character, I mean. Okay. So on the event graph, we're gonna do event restarted. So we're using restarted because whenever we respawn, we actually want to re-put it on, right? So we check if it's locally controlled. So if we are controlling this character, so if we're not an spectator, right? And then get controller. Then we cast it to my player controller. Then we create widget. And then we select overall UI layout. Then our overall layout, we have to promote it to a variable. So we call it root layout. So that's a root HUD layout. Okay. Root HUD layout. And then we add it to the viewport. Add to viewport. And after that, we get our root HUD layer and we push a widget to our layer stack, which is going to be our game stack. And we select the class that we made, the HUD player PC. Okay. And that's it. You just press play and everything is already done for you. Okay. So in the next one, we're going to use the actual stats on our abilities so we can apply cost to them. All right. See you then.